Alright, guys, I do apologize for the sound and audio throughout this podcast, but Phil was driving. He's a very busy man, so he had to do the call from his phone, which caused our audios to get messed up in the process because connection wasn't very great. So I hope you guys can still listen to this in full and enjoy the words of wisdom that he did give to us. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast, the place where a high schooler can learn to turn their passion into a business. The three main takeaways from this episode will be: number one, how to become a reseller.
Number two, how to utilize the connections around you.
And number three, what's it like running a side hustle?
Today we have a good friend of mine named Philip Green on to talk to us. Mr. Green is a sneaker reseller and is in the process of becoming a dental surgeon. Today we're going to learn how all this came to be, and for anyone who wants to learn how to be a reseller, he's going to tell you how.
Philip, thanks for coming on.
So Phil, first off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, as my friend Tony, we met each other a few years ago, actually at a sneaker convention, and he just seemed like a down-to-earth guy. But to piggyback on introducing myself, I'm Philip Green. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been living in Maryland probably for about 18 years of my life. I currently am a student at Howard University. So how it kind of became into sneakers, I've kind of always been, per se, let's say, like I don't know, I've always been a sneaker enthusiast. So I started in college, and I would say around maybe 2010 to 2011. And from then it was kind of like all she wrote, and I've been able to meet a few prominent people and meet great people such as Tony, and have been able to maintain a relationship. So glad to be on you guys' first podcast for sure.
So our next question is, first off, how and when did you know you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
I would say it started always since I was a young individual. Watching television, you see people like Bill Gates, and you see Jeff Bezos and people of that nature, and I mean, you kind of want that for yourself. So I would say it probably started maybe around 12 or 14. Originally, I wanted to be an NBA player, of course, but that didn't transpire. God had other plans for me, and my second goal was to become a neurosurgeon, but I thought school was a little bit too long, so I thought to do the next best thing. And since my mom, she's an oral surgeon, I was like, I might as well just go into dentistry and kind of follow in her footsteps.
Yeah. So did you play basketball in college?
Yeah, so I attended Wheeling Jesuit University after playing 4 years in high school at DeMatha Catholic High School, where a few prominent people came out, such as Victor Oladipo. He plays in the NBA. Quinn Cook plays in the NBA. Jeremy Grant, just to name a few others. But it's a long line of history that comes from that school. One day I thought it was going to be myself, but God didn't have that in store for me. So I did. Then after high school, I went to Wheeling Jesuit University. That was Division II. So I played there for 4 years. It was kind of an okay experience, but I kind of started losing, per se, interest in basketball, and kind of wanted to focus more on my studies, being as though reality sets in. So that's where I was with that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you know these NBA players, like personally?
Yeah, personally. They were actually in the locker room every day. I can practically pick up the phone and call them right now if we really needed to.
That's dope.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next question. How did you get into the reselling market?
Well, it first started out when I was working at the Nike store, the Nike factory store, when I was in college, and my mom brought the idea to me that why don't you try to sell sneakers? I mean, you get them for a discount, so why don't you try to make some profit on top of it? So after that, it was kind of like all she wrote. You meet certain people that can help you with certain things, and with anything in life, you need a strong connection, or you're kind of not gonna make it. It's not always about knowledge; it's about who you know sometimes, and that's kind of where I stand with it.
Yeah. Right. So, how much, if you had to estimate, how much stock do you usually have at one time?
And how do you determine how much stock you decide to have?
Yeah.
If I had to guesstimate, I would say I probably have at least 50 to 100 pairs on stock at a time. And that just ranges from Nikes to Jordans, high-end and fashion sneakers. So kind of what the people want, you kind of want to keep that on hand so you can actually marginalize your profit.
Yeah. And this is a little bit off topic, but have you ever been a sneaker plug for anyone famous or anything like that?
I won't say too many people, but some people I want to kind of remain nameless. But
Yeah.
the first guy that kind of reached out to me, who was a big household name, was DJ Ski. He has his own television show on, I forget what network, but it's called Ski TV, where he has anybody you can name on his show, from 2 Chainz to Lil Wayne sometimes, and there's different people like that. So one day I got a random email, and he said, I asked him how he heard about me, and it was actually from one of my friends that played at Duke. His name's Tyler Thornton, and he was like, yeah, like, we're good friends, and he said, you're the guy to come to. So he reached out to me. It was actually a pair of Fear 5s. Those were kind of hard to get back in the day,
Yeah.
but I was able to grab them for him and shipped them out to his lovely abode, I'm sure.
That's dope.
But, yeah.
Getting into our final question here. As a staple of our podcast, we usually ask our guests to give our viewers what, in your opinion, is the most important thing for a young aspiring entrepreneur to have, whether it be skill or anything like that, mindset.
Well, I would say that you have to keep the mindset that there's always another person that kind of wants to be where you are. So definitely work at your, like Drake and Rihanna says, work. That's just what we have to do, and you got to maintain your relationship with whoever you believe in, whether it's God or if you don't believe in anybody, just know that you got to kind of stay after it, and somebody's always trying to step on your toes or be where you are. So that's what
Yeah, I think that's definitely key for a young entrepreneur to have. So we wanted to thank you for coming on our podcast. We know it was not the greatest timing, but we really appreciate it.
No worries, and thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
That was my good friend Philip Green, giving us insight onto what it's like being a reseller.
Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Young Entrepreneurs. And if you'd like to come on the podcast, DM us there.
This has been Tony.
And this has been Akash.
See you guys next week.